This lesson is going to focus on another tool in ARCHICAD, and here we'll be working with columns. To place a column, we go into our toolbox and double click on the column tool, and that brings up our column default settings. And here we can define the shape and the size of the column. First info box here we have is the height of the column, and then we have our relative base height where it's going to sit on the floor. We have a rotation angle. We can place an angle to rotate the column. We can pick a home story, either the current story or automatic, or we can select the story that we'd like to place the column on. Over here we have our geometry methods. We can make a rectangular column, a circular column, or a profile column, which we can define with the profiler. If we have our rectangular or square column selected, we can select a wrapping method. We can select our core dimensions. If we check this box here, we can put a veneer around our column and define the thickness of the veneer. We can have a straight column. We can have a slanted column, and here we can select the angle of the slant for the column. We have our floor plan selection box, which will define how it looks on the floor plan. We can select to show on the home story only, or if it goes up through a couple of stories, we can have it show on all relevant stories. If we have a slanted column, we can show how that looks on the floor plan, either projected with overhead, cut only, symbolic cut, outlines only, or overhead all. And all this is explained in a separate lesson. We can show the entire element or to floor plan range or the absolute display limit. And here we can select the fill for the core structure. If we click in this box here, we can select from our fills. On the cut surfaces, we can select our pen, our background pen, the line for the core lines, the line for the core pen, what the fill is for the veneer if we've selected a veneer, and the veneer fill pen, other parameters for the pen, parameters for the outline, the symbol type, whether we have a crosshair, a slash, an X, or plain. And we can place those whatever distance we decide from the center or length outside of the column. Here we can pick the material for the column that we'll see in the 3D view. And here we have our listing and labeling. And all of that will be reviewed in a separate lesson. And here's the layer that the column's going to go on. So here we have a 1 by 1 column with a 3 15/16 inch veneer, and we have a vertical column selected. So we select OK. That brings up a little crosshair, and then we just click to wherever we want to place those columns. If we go back in here, we pick a slanted column. We change the angle to say 75 degrees and click OK. If we go into column selection settings, you'll see that we've selected projected with overhead, but we can also select cut only, and that shows the cut on the floor plan cut plane settings. If we select overhead all, now we have dashed lines. And so there are different ways to show how a slanted column looks on the floor plan. If we right click to bring up our context menu and select show all in 3D, we can see how these columns look in 3D. And that's the basics of working with columns.